Hello. So again, this is section 6.1. I'm going to continue this section. So in this section or in this lecture, I will be doing two more examples. All right. So the first one is, okay, so it's given here. So the first one is find the area bounded by these two functions. All right. That's all it is given. We don't know any intervals or anything like that. We just need to find the area bounded by these two graph. Okay, so let's see the graph first, okay? So first I have to make a graph of each of these functions. Okay, so when I make the graph of each of these functions, so the graph of this one will be, well, this is negative x squared, so that means it is concave down, and there is a 5 here, so most probably when you find the vertex, so the vertex of this one will be, well, first h is equals to negative b over 2a, and k is, just take that value of h and plug that into here to get the value of x, right? So, or we can even say f of h, right? So from that you can get the vertex, and here b is, well, to get the b we need x, so we don't have x, so b is 0. So that means, well, a is -1, right? So 0 over any number is still 0. And if you plug that 0 to here, you'll get +5. So just work on that, right? Because you guys have already done this thing. So just work on that. And most probably uh, the shape of the graph is something like this. Okay. And for another one, this is a linear function. So y is equals to mx plus b, means b is a y-intercept. So we can say that the graph is, since our slope is negative, so most probably it will be something like this. Okay. Now the function is, or the problem is saying find the area bounded by these two graphs. Okay, so the first one here, we said this one is f of x. The second one, this straight line or linear equation, we say g of x. Right, so this is g of x. So that means we need to find the area between these two. All right, now the problem is, well, yeah, we can write the integral, right? So we can write the integral from, well, that's the thing. For what is the interval? Well, integral of, well, on the top we have f of x, right? And on the bottom we have g of x and dx. But what is the interval? So the interval is from this point to this point, right? So it should be from this point to this point. So what are these 2 points? So these 2 points, I can find these 2 points if I can find the x on this point and x on this point, right? So to find that point, well, so I can find these 2 points. So these 2 points are the place where both f of x and g of x cross each other, right? So we can find that point making these two equal. So at these 2 points, or at this point, both of these equations are same. So that's why we need to consider these two equal. So if I consider these two equal, then I can find these points. So let's see. So f of x is 5 minus x squared is equals to g of x is 2 minus 2x. All right. So now let's just move this to other side. So 0 is equals to This will be positive x squared minus 2x plus 2 minus 5. When I move this to the other side, it will be minus 5. It will be minus 3, right? So from here, I will get, so since there is negative 2, so I can say x minus 3 and x plus 1. Is minus 3 plus 1 will give minus 2, right? So yeah. So from here, we'll get x is equals to positive 3 and x is equals to negative 1. All right, so from these two, now we can consider, okay, x is equals to negative 3 means this should be negative, should be on this side. So this point, at this point, x is going to be negative 1. So this should be negative 1. At this point, x is going to be positive 3. So on right hand side here, so at this point, it's 3. So there you go. So now that we found the interval, okay? So now I can find the area. Now the interval is now from negative 1 to 3, right? So from negative 1 to 3, on the top we have f of x, which is y minus x squared minus, we need to consider this minus and we need to distribute this minus, and g of x. So that means I need to distribute this minus to g of x means for these two. So negative, positive 2 will be negative 2, negative will be positive 2x. Okay, so negative 1, 2, 3, 5 minus 2 is positive 3 plus 2x minus x squared dx. So okay, so after this, I guess you guys can do this, right? Because I've done similar problem a lot on the previous lectures. So yeah, you guys can do this, and the answer will be 79/6. All right. Well, this is not a quiz problem. All right. This is not a quiz problem, since I already gave you the answer. So yeah, you don't have to submit anything for at least for this one. Okay. So yeah, we found the A, right? So I guess we're done on this problem. Oops, no. For this one, sorry. This is the answer for the second one. For this one, it's 32/6, which is also 10.67. Okay. Now, the second one, okay, now here, find the area bounded by, okay, now these two, okay. So let's make a graph again first. Okay, so f of x graph is going to be x squared minus, so here, here, the coefficient of x squared is positive, so it will be concave up, right? Concave up, and well, now I need to find the x-intercept point. The x-intercept point will be, again, if I consider y0, I can find x-intercept, right? So from here, I can now factor out x. So x minus 1. So either x is equals to 0 or x is equals to positive 1. So that means the graph will be something like this, concave up, and the x-intercept point will be 0 and 1. Okay. Now the next one is this one, g of x is equals to 2x. So and this one, if you make a x, y table, give some value for x, you'll get the value of y. So if, that way you'll get few points, right? If x is 0, it's 0. If it is -1, then it's -2. If it is +1, it's +2, like that. And you will get a straight line. So straight line, something like this. Okay. Now, the thing is, now it is asking to find the area bounded for this interval, right? So -2 is going to be, let's say, somewhere down here. So -2, and the 3 will be, so this point, if you check it, if you consider, again, to get this point, just like I did before, I can make f of x is equals to g of x. So x squared minus x is equals to 2x. So move this to other side. So x squared minus 2x is equals to, sorry, here we will, so if you move this to other side, it will be -2x, right? So the -2x, negative x will be -3x. So now again, from these two, I can factor out x. So x minus 3 is equals to 0. So here either x is equals to 0 or x is equals to 3. So from this, I'm getting this intersecting point. So this point, we already know that basically, right? This is the origin, so we can easily find that. But this point is now 3. So at this point, x is 3. All right, so this is 3. Well, this is 1. Obviously, this graph is not within the scale, but yeah, it doesn't matter. You just have to see the basic shape of the graph. All right. But anyway, so now we are considering, or basically we are trying to find the area enclosed by these two function between -2 and +3. So that means I need to consider, or I need to find the area of these things, an area of these things, right? All right. So okay, now the thing we see here with this graph is, if you just see this part, and this part, the f of x is on the top and g of x is in the bottom. So basically from -2 to 0, from -2 to 0, in this interval, f is in the top and g is in the bottom, right? So let's consider this region. Let's consider this region A1. And now for this region, it's opposite. Now for this region, now in this region, g of x is in the top and f of x is in the bottom, right? So let's consider this A2. So we have to find the area of these two separate. So first, let's find the area, or let's find A1. Okay, so for A1, the interval is from -2 to 0, from -2 to 0. F of x, oh well, yeah, on the top we have f of x, right? F of x minus g of x dx, right? And obviously after this, to be from -2 to 0. So f of x on the top is x squared minus x minus g of x is 2x. Okay, so from here you will get the value of A1. So take the integration of all of these. Well, x, obviously here -x, -2x will be -3x, right? Okay, so you can find the value of this, or find the value of a1 by taking the integration. Okay, so the value here you will get is 26/3. And similarly for a2, so for a2 our interval is from 0 to 3. And on the top we have, on the top in this case now, on the top we have, now interval is from 0 to 3. And on the top, now in this case g of x, and on the bottom f of x, right? And this is f of x. So now taking the integration of this, we get from 0 to 3, g of x is 2x minus, so I have to distribute this minus to f of x. So minus x square is minus x square, minus negative x is positive x, right? So now look at this. So now here 2x plus 3, we will get 3x minus x squared dx. All right. So look at this. So we get two different equations, right? So that's why I said we have to get the integration of these two separately. All right. Right. So the reason I'm doing that is here f of x is in the top, g of x is on the bottom, this interval, and on this interval, g of x is in the top and f of x is on the bottom. That's why we are doing it separate. So so again, you can do the integration by yourself, and the value you should get at the end is 9/2. All right, so since we are trying to find the area bounded by these two, so our final answer is going to be a is equals to a1 plus a2. Right, so our final answer, sorry, what's going on here? Just give me a moment. Okay, there you go. So our final answer should be a is equals to a1 plus a2, which is, well, 26/3 plus 9/2 is equals to 79/6. All right, so that's the total area bounded by these two graph between these two intervals. Okay. All right. So altogether, for this section 6.1, I think I did like 5 different kind of problems, right? 5 different problems. So if you see the previous lectures, I did 3 problems, and for this one I did 2 more problems. So I did 5 different problems. I think this should be enough. These 3 different kind of problems should be enough to do your homework problems. All right. So like I said before, I skipped. Actually, I'm supposed to cover 6.2 in this lecture, but like I said before, I skipped 6.2. So I'm not going to cover this 6.2. So instead of that, I covered 6.1 again. So the next lecture, I will be covering section 6.3. So like I said, I skipped. Let me check one more time. Yes, 6.2. Skip that. Yes, I will start 6.3. Next lecture will be 6.3. All right. Okay, yeah, that's it for this one. I'll see you in the next video. All right, thank you.